Previously on Tale of the Blade. Cat and dog continued their journey northwards, along the Leviathan coast. It was there they encountered the giant creatures that gave the coast its name. But the coast was home to more than just Leviathan. Herds of beak things roamed its shores, providing both cat and dog an ample opportunity to improve themselves. After battling through the horrid creatures, the two explorers found themselves a tower locked for generations. Its secrets, Cat wouldn't be able to fully understand, but someone, somewhere might. And so they continued further until the first sign of civilization, for a very long time, came into view. Yet, like many of the structures on the coast, this town was but a ghost of its former self, with only one structure still intact. But within, old dangers waited. Cat was overwhelmed, broken and bloodied. The machines leave him to die. And that is where our tale begins. And so it is, we rejoin Cat and dog in this precarious position. Cat, unable to move, with 3 mechanoid spiders perched atop of him. They wait for any sign of movement, any sign of life. And while he's been able to cautiously bandage himself, he has no idea what condition dog is in. Cursing to himself, he waits. But with his ear upon the ground, galloping can be heard. A big thing heading straight into the town, and right past the spiders no less. And there it is. In opportunity, he can hear them fighting, machine against flesh. Yet the whirring of parts is still close. The single sentinel would not leave his side, waiting and waiting. The sky begins to change color as the great ball of gas in the sky peaks over the horizon. There! Something has its attention. Another big thing. Finally, a chance. Yet he must be cautious. He can only get up so many times. It was now or never. But running wasn't going to work. He would have to try and fight. With what little strength he has left, Cat begins to swing. Then came the rains again. While it might have seemed like defeat, Cat did damage to these machines. Oil slowly leaks out of their chassis. He'd need to bide his time again, gather what little remaining strength he has, and then strike when they're at their weakest. Patience, it seems, pays off, as the weakened machines took sight of the Garu herd. One by one, the muscle-bound herbivores struck the spiders down. Cat's ordeal was still far from over, however. While the machines were downed, they were not out. But for the moment, Cat was. There is a point in Kenshi where your injuries are so severe you slip into a recovery coma, and that is what Cat finds himself in right now. It's not the first time in his life he's felt this kind of defeat, but it's the first time in a long while. He can only hope to himself in his slumber that dog is hanging on to. Time passes by as the numerous creatures of the coast go about their violent lives. A group of nomads is slowly devoured, big things doing what they do best. Could it be that the Crimson Sea, along the Leviathan coast, has its color from the countless gallons of blood that have been spilt in its waters over thousands of years? Probably not, but it's still a grim thought. While still in his coma, Cat doesn't know it yet, but dog lives. And so too will he, if he can just hold on long enough. At least now, he has a guardian. But wait a minute, who's that? The stranger darts away. The dog is ready, downing the spider in a single bite. Another stranger approaches. Dog, uneasy by their presence. But this person isn't robbing, isn't stealing from Cat. They're healing him. They don't reach for the meteoric blade on his back. They just patch up his wounds, feed him some water, and then continue on their way. Such is the way of the tech hunter, Cat's own guardian angel. Yet, while the healing will help, it is still all on Cat to recover. Hours pass. Not even curious beak things will be allowed to get close. Not while Dog is watching. He stays close to Cat as one of the original 3 spiders returns. Dog charges to meet the machine and falls. Unconscious, bleeding. It's all on Cat now. He just needs to wake up. The sun has set and risen again, and still no sign of Cat awaking. At this stage, there's no telling if Dog is still holding on. An injured river raptor digs through the corpse of a fallen beak thing nearby. The same fate that may be awaiting our duo. Finally, Cat finds the strength to stand back up again. Yet Dog is still breathing, but just his backpack with all their supplies he'd needed. And now, a single beak thing tries to stand in the way and fails. As fast as his injured legs will carry him, Cat sprints back, hoping to find the little one alive. And sure enough, Dog is, but only just, holding on by a thread. Without Dog here, there's no telling if Cat would have been able to recover. So many creatures would have gladly picked at his defenseless corpse. Yet together, they still live. But Cat is only just out of the frying pan. He has yet to leave the fire. Behind him, that large structure still stands. Within it, countless mechanical spiders. No doubt, a fine way for him to train and to practice his skill. But he would need to do so cautiously, and only once his wounds were fully sealed. For now, he'd collect his friend and search through the fallen. All around them, old scattered parts of skeletons could be found. The mechanical kind, that is. Eyes, muscles, all manner of objects. Incredibly valuable to the right people, but also a heavy commodity. Power cores, capacitors were scattered across the ground. The settlement was advanced, once upon a time, now nothing more than a ghost town. Among the lightest and most valuable pieces of tech here were the skeleton eyes, each only taking up a small portion of Cat's pack. But with the weight and the wires that were inside, Cat knew they'd have to be of value. And they were scattered everywhere. With Dog slung over his shoulder, limping as he went, Cat gathers what he can. There was still one straggler outside that Cat would need to deal with before he could scavenge in peace. Injured as he was confident in his abilities. It was here that he'd also find the small mechanical repair kits that skeletons would use to stitch themselves back together, even more valuable than the eyes. Cat set up camp in the shadow of a leviathan, hoping that the gentle giant would keep them safe from trouble for a time. He knew that the real treasure of this town would lie in the only structure still standing, the one guarded by all those spiders. He would bide his time, recover, and get ready to fight. But as we've come to know, Cat isn't one to sit idly by. Even though he was waiting for his body to recover and for Dog to awake, there was always a chance to be stronger, a chance to train. Loading his pack up with everything he could find, he took to the plains, jogging back and forth, never quite losing sight of that leviathan though. That behemoth would stand as a grand marker of their temporary home. There would be little sleep for Cat tonight. In his mind, he'd already spent enough time laying in the dirt. Now was the time to train. As the night became day, the two explorers were in a much better condition. Not ready to fight an army of spiders, but ready to fight a few. Dog was getting fast, very fast. It might just be fast enough to lure a few of the spiders into the open. There, with his blade in hand, Cat would be able to carve. And so, it's time to set that plan into action. Oh, small hitch in the plan. Dog seems to be unwilling to enter the structure. Yes, animals can't go inside buildings in Kenshi. Not willingly at the very least. So, looks like it's gonna have to be Cat again. And it seems like it's worked. Not only that, but a river raptor is in the mix. Well, it was, for a moment. Looks like it's Cat and Dog against the world again. These spiders fight like no other we have faced so far. Unbelievable. Even after all of that recovery, it's still not enough. These spiders fight faster than any we've witnessed so far. Thankfully, the Leviathan seemed to be stomping them down, something that Cap might have been able to take advantage of. Unfortunately though, he's a little too headstrong for that. Up you get. Oh, and let's make sure that one stays down. Well, Cat, that certainly could have gone better. But the Guardians are now spread out. All of those that were at the front are now dead, or as dead as a machine can be. Cat isn't wrong. He won't be able to carry Dog, not with his arm as injured as it is. Even the mighty blade on his back will be too much to wield. He can manage the small katana, however. When he entered this time, he saw those 3 Guardians, and 3 followed him out. The way might be clear. With an empty backpack and as streamlined as possible, Cat might stand a chance at sneaking in now. But he will still need to remain cautious. While they'd seen to most of the foes, there was still no telling what could be waiting inside. Oh, the enemy's still in here, all right. You can hear them moving. Outside, then, Cat, into the Leviathans. But will they follow? Seemingly, yes. Towards the great beast they scurry. Finally, the Leviathan seems to be taking an interest. And it doesn't take much. Limping towards the remains, Cat will need to make sure that this thing stays down. And with that done, back to the structure. Oh, and oh boy, there's still one very close. We'll need to get its attention too. That'll do it, Cat. Lead it away. And there it goes again. The Leviathan doing its work. And Cat makes sure they won't cause any more trouble, tearing out what wiring and cabling he can find. And finally, it seems like he's alone here, at the very least on this level. First off was an incredibly complex safe, but thinking back to the hub and to what the shinobi thieves taught him, Cat knew it was possible. Within the safe, a specialist grade blackened chain shirt. That will be going in the pack for now. Many of the shelves were empty, and much of the chest had contained nothing more than iron plates so far. But that changed with a leather turtleneck, not unlike the one Cat's worn previously. And it's something that he can wear right now without affecting his stealth. And in the next chest, a scout leg. The leg of a rebel scout unit. The design has been kept lightweight at the cost of durability. It's capable of impressive speed. And it's also something that Cat can fold down and fit in that thief's backpack. On a display rack rests a moon cleaver. Most blades, like katanas and sabers, use their curvature to slide off the target, increasing the amount of cut damage. The reverse curvature of a moon cleaver does the opposite, catching limbs and necks, keeping the force of their blow driving inwards. A deadly weapon, and also one that Cat will be able to fit in his pack. The bottom floor was clear, only the top floor remained. There was nothing but tables and chairs. No ancient treasure, no lost secrets, just lost blood. The majority of it, cats. The incessant buzzing of flies was burrowing into his mind. Night was on its way again. They had found all they could here. Cat redressed, and found Dog by the fire. Perhaps the most important thing they'd gained here was a sense of caution. The blade had given Cat an undeserved confidence. Certainly, he had accomplished much more than any other gutter kid had, yet he was no god, no skeleton either. He was made of flesh, blood, and bone. A rather fragile material, as Cat was coming to learn. But all that fighting wasn't for naught. His strength now sits at 65, his max carrying weight 69. Nice. And with his toughness at 87, Cat can take quite the beating before he goes down. As ever, we want to see his melee attack and defense improve, alongside katanas. All of that will come from further training. And train he must, and no doubt he will have more opportunities on the Leviathan coast. Our time here at the Lost Armory is over. He will continue his journey east along the bottom of the coast and out towards the end, the most northern point on the continent. That will be in the future. I know it might not seem like Cat made all that much progress today, but pulling back the veil for a moment, he was very close to death. There is a slim line between the recovery coma and entering a critical condition. While Cat was in that coma, Dog slipped from critical to dying. By the time that Cat was up and about again, he had seconds to get that first aid kit and get back to Dog. So we are very lucky to have him still with us. Dog is an adult now and a heck of a fighter, but there is still one age stage that's above where Dog's at now, and I'm confident that that pup is gonna make it. And so it is, our tale comes to a close this day, but with the rising sun, Cat will return, and his journey shall continue. For now, I have been Rycon. You have all been awesome, and until next time, stay tuned.